Okay, I am looking for the old minutes. Hang on a minute. Oh, oh no, I guess we don't have minutes. We did that already, didn't we?
We submitted the minutes. We're approving the minutes from February 22nd.
Okay. So call to order. It is, who knows it, 7:04. It's me, Ed, Rocco, Mike, Bethany. Did you guys know Bethany got her full budget approved?
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Well, congratulations to both of you guys. To Bethany, also Joe too, for helping out.
Maureen gave a really nice speech
Yeah.
at the front end of the meeting too.
Well, that's nice.
There was a lot of support from the Board of Finance.
Yeah.
Even some people from the public too came to speak about the importance of some of the budgets. So that was very helpful.
That was great. That was great.
Good.
All right, so general discussion, I don't think it's going to happen. No general discussion.
No.
So approval of minutes from February 22nd. Everybody okay with the minutes?
Looks good to me.
Rocco says
good.
thumbs up. All right, so I'll say Mike moved to okay the minutes, and Rocco seconded it. So now it's up to you, Bethany.
All right. So director's report. So for programming, trips and events, the bus trips that are usually held every year are on hold because of COVID. It's difficult to do the transportation with everyone on the bus right now.
Yep.
So with events, we're still planning for Wednesdays in the park, the summer concert series. That's going to run July 7th through August 18th. And for the budget report, I sent that to all the commission members. And like Joe had said, the Board of Finance had approved our fiscal year 21-22 budget. With the, let's move on here, facilities. So for facilities, I'm waiting to hear back from Kent Fencing on the cost for repairing the River Road guardrail that's broken and the fencing at the town office building. I took pictures of both and resent them to them. I know Chris from Kent Fencing is very busy, so hopefully he can get us a quote on that soon. River Road, Joe, do you have any lighting project updates for us?
We're extremely busy, but I'll make room
Yeah.
for it over the next couple weeks.
All right, good. At River Road, a porta potty was dropped off in early March, and the price for that increased. So it used to be $135 a month, now it's $200 a month. So that's more than we anticipated on spending. You know, an extra $65 a month for the remainder of the fiscal year and going into next year is gonna hit us. But
Well, maybe we pull it out a little earlier instead of leaving it there till November.
yeah.
Not a bad idea.
With the budget approval, a part of that is going to hopefully go to doing some topsoil and seed for the soccer field at River Road. So some of that field maintenance that would make it more usable, more desirable. And hopefully we can continue that on a yearly basis. So with that being said, the soccer field, one of our leagues that rents it, CT Celtics, Rich, was asking if he could pay to seed the soccer field for springtime. He wanted to try to do it himself, but things have changed and he's busy now. So he was hoping to have somebody do it for him. But if we were to do that, then part of the field would be unusable. It would be roped off or, you know, sectioned off with signs so that the public and our renters couldn't use it. So that gets a little difficult because I know NEU, Northeast United, was going to rent. They were planning to do it Thursdays, April through June. and CT Celtics is also renting it. Rich, the guy that would like to do that seating, he's renting it now through June, I believe. So he was okay with sectioning off half and only using half the field, but NEU needs the full field. So we'd need to decide how we're gonna move forward with that. You know, if we're gonna let Rich do his seeding project, or if we want to hold off and do the topsoil and seeding in the fall time or summertime or an off season. So
Isn't fall the full-blown soccer season?
yeah, so some of them are already renting now. NEU said that summer and fall would be better for them if we did that field maintenance. CT Celtics is okay with any time. I think he just wants it better than what it is now. So
NEU definitely needs the full field. They couldn't make do with half.
for the time that they're renting right now in April and June, they said that they need the full field.
NEU has more teams and they have less
Right.
teams in the fall because some of the kids play high school ball. So they actually have more participants in the spring than they do in the fall.
There you go. Makes sense.
I don't know when there's a good time to do that field. It's just so busy all the time.
Well,
Summer.
I think because of the weather too. I think fall's a better time to seed because you don't have to worry about a drought coming in and killing what you just did.
So I know I met with Rich and Troy down at the field and we were discussing when would be the best time to do the seeding if Rich were. And, you know, late spring, once it's not so cold overnight, is a good time to do it. And then you hopefully get that spring rain to help water it. Or late fall is good too for seeding. So
is his thought, the Celtic guy, that he's going to use half a field right through the fall, the same half, or does he think he's going to get on that half that he seeded early?
I think he's hoping that the grass comes in sooner than it will. Throwing down seed isn't going to necessarily mean that you're going to have perfect grass right away. We don't have staffing, obviously, to water it and to maintain it. So throwing seed down, all of it might not even take. I don't know what his plans were. I think he just wanted it to be grass as soon as possible. So
Which group pays us more?
well, right now CT Celtics is paying us more. They reserved it some of the days that NEU was going to probably reserve it. So, but I think they're both
So-
loyal and they've both used it in the past. So
So they pay us a lot of money and they're willing to pay for the seating?
One of them is the Celtic.
CT. So if they're willing to use half the field, they're paying us more and they're gonna pay for the seating.
Except the NEU guy sent a letter to Bethany that said, you know, we've been loyal users and spent a lot
Right.
of money in the past, and but he
Yeah.
feels
It's not a matter, but it's not a matter of, it's not, even though we're saying it's a matter of money, it's not really a matter of money. We're trying to make the field better in the long run. So sometimes you gotta look elsewhere to, I don't know, we hate to lose a customer, but
I think CT Celtics a short-term solution though. It depends on one guy, this guy, whatever, Rich.
rich.
He was a more stable, more long-term option for renting those fields. So you got to consider that too. I mean, NEU has been around a lot longer and will survive without, you know, with changing ownership. But CT Celtic is purely a one-man show. He's here
Didn't
today, gone tomorrow.
didn't Maureen complain about that guy too?
Yeah, he drove her crazy. But we need a solution. It'd be great to keep them both. But do we just wait to the end of the season and then we've got $10,000 to put topsoil and seeding in?
What about
And
the
then-
baseball field?
What's that?
What about the outfield? Will NEU consider using the outfield in the baseball field? Since there's no Little League from Wellington this year?
There is. Little League joined Mansfield.
that was my next point. Yeah, Little League is joining with Mansfield Little League.
Are they going to use that field?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, they haven't sent me dates yet, but That was
wonder
our
what-
next topic of discussion, because obviously Willington Little League didn't pay to use fields, but now that they're mixed with Mansfield, I wasn't sure if we were gonna have them pay to rent, or Willington Little League used to provide the porta potty for town office building fields. So now we're left without a porta potty there. Do we use our field rental revenue to pay for a town office building porta potty, or is that our only fee for Mansfield Little League, that they supply the porta potty at town office building and a second one at River Road? So,
Yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do with baseball. I don't think they're using the field as much as we would have used the field if it was just Willington. Right? 'Cause
Right.
we're using fields all around us.
yeah, they're using all around, and I know that we have that adult league, CABL, renting the town office building field. They're starting in April 11th. So I need to have a porta potty there by that date. It's not really fair to rent to them and to charge them without having a porta potty.
Is the outfield big enough to create a soccer field in?
You could practice, not a field, but you could practice. I don't know what NEU needs the whole field for, if they're gonna plan games or just practices. Like, if they're just going to practice, you could run drills in an outfield.
There's also room between the outfield fence and the playscape too. I don't know, I don't remember exactly how much, but there's a good swath of land there.
Well, can't they go, instead of going, let's just say east-west, the field is juxtaposed east-west down on River Road. What if they went north-south? They went sideways. And they expanded out beyond the edge of the field.
They might be playing a
Recreation.
full-size field for the bigger kids or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, the Celtic guy said that he could use half a field. And he wants a full field. We got to do we just make one guy happy? I mean, I take your point that maybe the guy from CT Celtic is gone in a couple of years. I don't know.
I don't think it's a long-term option. I really don't. I think it's, I really don't. I don't want to pick sides, but I mean, there's not enough information from NEU what they need it for. You know, it's one thing for games, and I understand why they would say that. But if it's practices, they could make do with whatever we might out, you know, they could slide a team to the side, or you could split that practice field, like Ed just said, between halves. So I don't know if their intent is to use it for practice or games. I mean, my sons and daughter played for NEU, and I never had a game there. So I don't know what I'd really like to know what their intent is for that field. Just practice? Just practice. I mean, I think we can make it work and have that guy seated and just use half a field and maybe a little of the baseball field and some of the other open space.
So I guess you really have to poll them and see what's okay with them, what works with them. I know you don't want to say no to NEU, and I don't blame you.
Yeah, it's difficult coming in knowing,
Yeah.
obviously they're both repeat customers, they're loyal, and they both do some maintenance and supply things. I think NEU supplied the nets and the goals, so,
That was the point that he made, that he
Right.
spent a lot of time down there.
Is it possible for one season while the grass is growing that they could use the outfield behind the town office building if they moved a couple nets?
That's a good idea.
That's a big area.
Yeah, actually, they don't even use that softball field way at the other side of the field. That nobody even uses it.
That's a big area, and that grass never gets any foot traffic, so it'd be really thick. Should be well handled to handle soccer. If they could move a couple, if the public works could move a couple goals for them, if that's what it takes.
That's a good idea.
That is a good idea, Mike. I know Tony Eldridge is going to use that field on the weekends, but that's okay. And then that's another reason to have a porta potty there and to have somebody else help pay it. Maybe you offer NEU that field.
okay,
Is that big enough for soccer?
It's gotta be.
I don't know.
It goes back to what they want to use it for, practice or games. Games, it could get a little tight because of the infield. But if they're using it for practice, but even CT Celtic come over there and practice too. I mean, they could share that half field and they could share the town hall field. I mean, I wouldn't go with just, giving CT Celtic that one field. I think it should be both switching back and forth between those fields.
I mean, we also have, there's also Hall School. I mean, we don't own that, but
That's another good point.
that lower field
I
of Hall,
was thinking about that, but I'm sure that's just for the school soccer team, right? And they've got girls and
they
boys.
play. They
Yeah, I
play-
think so.
They don't play
on
in-
the upper field. They play on the upper field, the lower field. I mean, we used to play field hockey down there, but I don't even think they have a field hockey team anymore.
No, it's a soccer field. It's a small sided soccer field that Wham Soccer uses for the under 12s. So you might be in conflict with them, but it is a soccer field now for practice. You could use it for practicing for older kids.
That's not, so we maintain the fields, but that's not what Park and Rec would rent out. So if someone was using that, they would go through the school to schedule it, and
Oh,
It's true.
I'm not sure that they rent out to leagues like that. It might just be for school use. I don't know.
They rent out to Wham.
The school does?
Yeah.
Would we have conflicts on the 90-foot base path field behind the town office building if the middle school started playing there? Or do they have a team and do they play there?
There's not gonna be any middle school sports this spring.
Okay, I mean, that's bad, but that's good for soccer.
Right. This year, right.
You
So-
know, are there any fields that are not going to be used that we should be seeding, that we should take advantage of for that this year?
Maybe if we could get NEU to play at the town office building and then let Celtic play at River Road on half the field, at least we could get one half of it set up nicely. Then we've got enough money towards the end of the season to seed it for fall. Does that get used hard in the fall? The River Road
Yes.
field?
They all get used hard.
Yeah, I think they're all pretty scheduled throughout all the warm months.
Yeah.
if that first patch of new grass comes in good, you could switch to the other half and reseed the other half if it'll handle the foot traffic.
We have some money, Bethany, right, towards that field? Like you-
Yeah, so the budget was approved for 83,025. And part of that covers the contracted items that I think we discussed, Joe. So that's the rec director wages, the assistant rec director wages, payroll taxes, and all the field contracts for the town, the school, and River Road. So that covers, that breaks down to 76,877, leaving about 6,148 for soccer field maintenance.
Okay. So that's a pretty good chunk for topsoil, and so if CT Celtic's gonna, or whatever the name of that team is gonna do half the field, and then they want to do the other half end of the season.
Yeah,
Ask
I
those
think he
guys
just
what we
wanted
do.
to seed, so if we were gonna do the topsoil like we had planned, I guess the best time for that would be in the fall. Bringing in topsoil and reseeding that portion.
That means all the grass goes away though, right, Mike?
Well, did we get a price on bringing in topsoil and seeding from
We
anybody?
just have some money.
I don't know.
Well, Maureen must have, because she obviously had some sort of number in her head, but
Mhm.
I like the idea of seeing if we can split the fields. So see if that guy from, what is it, NEU? See if he'd be happy at town office building and see if we can use town office building, if there's nothing else scheduled there. Is there gonna be, do girls softball still use that field? Anybody know? The corner by the refreshment stand?
They used to, but that was when Wellington had a little league. I don't know if they're going to with Mansfield.
All right.
I just want to touch on one thing. We mentioned earlier the question of whether we charge the Mansfield Willington League, whatever, for the use of the Willington field, and I don't think we should.
We're at least trying to get him to pay for a porta potty.
Okay,
Because, right, Bethany? Because there'll be overflow, no pun intended.
I I think it's difficult too, because we're renting out the town office building fields to that adult league. So if Mansfield Little League supplied the porta potty, other teams would be using it, other leagues. So again, I don't know if they would want to supply a porta potty if they're only using it occasionally. Because it's Mansfield Little League, they have other fields that they use as well.
Well,
So,
Baseball
I don't know.
used to supply their own porta potty at their
Right.
own expense. So,
So I'm wondering if Mansfield is being charged to play at other fields or if they're getting it gratis. Can you find that out from your cronies?
yeah, I can try to see.
And when they thought about this 2 years ago, Mansfield had intended to use and rotate teams through the Wellington fields. So I would be surprised if they changed that because they're sensitive to the big geographic spread of the people within the league. So they weren't going to have it exclusively for Wellington residents, but they were going to pass through all their teams to Wellington Field. So I think Mike Petrus is his name, is the Mansfield Little League president too. That they might have one of your contacts talk to him about it and what their intent is, because that's what that was the plan 2 years ago, but I'm not involved with Little League. I don't know what it is today.
I can
Right.
see them, I can see making them supply their own porta potty, but like Ed said, I don't think we should charge them the rent on the field. Because no matter what proportion of the kids are from Wellington, there's kids from Wellington, and we normally wouldn't charge them to play baseball on their own diamond.
Right, but
Oh, I agree.
they're gonna need a porta potty no matter what. And it's a
Yeah.
lot of money for a porta potty right now. So if they could at least pay half or a portion.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Baseball used to supply their own porta potty, so let them supply their own porta potty or pay for the one that we have there. Or half of it, because soccer's using half of it.
I don't think that's the question. The question is it fair that they should incur the cost if you're going to rent out to an adult league that will use it too?
Oh,
Right.
That's why we should share it. Plus, when Little League is there, is one porta potty enough? That's why
Well-
we need two porta potties at River Road, right? Because there's so many people.
Yeah, they supplied a secondary one at River Road and then they had the one at the town office buildings.
So they're gonna be playing at River Road.
I think they might be doing both. They haven't sent me their schedule or anything yet.
Little League, you mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Softball will be a town hall field. If they're going to play softball, it'll be at the town hall field. Town hall field.
All right. So what we need is more information from Little League.
Mhm.
To see what the rotation of the fields are. And if they're gonna have softball there, and if girls are gonna play softball there.
yeah, to see if it conflicts with NEU using that field.
How many nights a week did NEU want a field?
I think he was looking at 2 different nights a week, but the only one that was open for him was Thursdays. Because CT Celtics is renting, I think Tuesday, Wednesday, and looking at Mondays. So,
And I'm sure he'd wanna put lines down in the town office building field. I'm not
That
sure.
wouldn't really hurt it.
Yeah, I don't think, and it wouldn't bother baseball.
The
So-
other thing to remember about NEU too is, have you guys heard any more rumors about the land that they were supposedly bought right next to the River Road that they were going to develop
have.
into a soccer complex?
I spoke to Carl Simovic. And then, but anyway, it's gonna take them some time. They don't have the funds right now to do those fields up this year. So they will not be, that property will not be converted into a usable field this year. They may start work on it, but they're not gonna be playing on it. And I'd be surprised if they even start work this year, but but anyway, the point being, they're not gonna be playing on it this year.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I threw it out there just trying to determine how long they're going to be a customer.
Right.
Yeah,
They wanna be a customer right now.
well, maybe we don't sell the use of the baseball field contingent on like contributing towards a porta potty. Maybe we just say, you know, if they pay 200, how much would we charge them otherwise? If a porta potty is 200 bucks a month, how much would we otherwise charge them to use a field?
The
Well, the
field
soccer
is,
people, if they use town office building, that'll help with the porta potty. The kids that are playing hardball there as adults are paying enough to help with that porta potty. So the real field that we want Little League to help with is River Road with the porta potty. I think, right, Bethany?
Yeah.
I think that adult league, yeah, once they make their payment, they were trying to set up a payment plan instead of paying all up front. So once they make their payment, then yeah, we would have the funds to purchase the town office building porta potty. But
They're going to be the big users there unless soccer moves in there. And if they do, they're paying you to use the field those nights too. So, you know, some of that revenue goes towards a porta potty.
Yeah.
Tony's only using it on the weekends,
On Sunday, Bethany? When's he using it? Just Sunday?
adult baseball.
CABL, yeah, they're just using it for Sundays.
And that kid has done a lot of work to that field, hasn't he, Tony?
Yeah,
A lot, but he's done some. He's cleaned it up. So I guess see if any you's interested in using town office building, and you got to kind of check with Little League too to see what they're up to.
Yeah, I think they were still having meetings this past week about their schedule and everything, so.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, since we're on that topic, we purchased all the fertilizer that Greg would need for the fields. And I wasn't sure about clay because I know we have a bit of clay back here at the town office building. I guess I need to check in with him on what our needs are for that.
Is there some at River Road too, out by that shed? The shed near like right field?
minimal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'll check with Greg on that. And as far as programs, Erica was going to try to attend tonight. I don't know if she had something come up, but she was going to go over the American Relief funding that we would potentially be getting this summer to help assist us with summer camp and Halls Pond. So typically summer camp is self-sustaining, but this year without access to our indoor space that we typically use, it's going to be a very different program if we do offer it. So adding the cost of holding the program elsewhere and adding the minimum wage increases and extra cleaning products, PPE that's required, is gonna drive up the cost for running the program. I met with, so I was discussing locations with Phil. Phil is the superintendent is going to offer a summer school program, hopefully out of the firehouse right here in the community room. And he was discussing partnering together to do a summer camp, summer school program together. So his summer school program runs for 4 weeks and it's 4 days a week and it's just mornings. So he was discussing if any of those kids were interested in attending the aftercare for camp in the afternoons. And if we held camp in a close location, he was saying that maybe the firehouse would work, but probably not with the numbers and the space. And then the firehouse just acquired the church across the street. So that's another potentially usable space. He went on a tour this morning before I was here, but sent me some pictures of it. The issue with using that space would be that summer camps have to follow the COVID restrictions and guidelines. So there's only 20 kids allowed in a group and allowed in a space. So if we were to use that church location, we could only have 20 kids. And if he had summer school children attending, that would take up spots for full day camp children. So it gets a little difficult there. And then the summer camp staff might not be trained necessarily to handle the special needs summer camps children, summer school children. So
You want to be in a different space than them?
I think we would need to be. There's different guidelines that the schools have to follow versus Parks and Rec for summer camp. And I think it might still be easier to run the program at River Road because it would just be strictly outdoors. And it would, with the relief funding that Erica was discussing, if our numbers are down, we would still have funding coming in from that to help cover the costs. So potentially having less campers, we would still be making money with the relief fund to help
We
cover
haven't-
counselor wages or materials and things.
Do we have an idea of how many kids might show up or what our break-even point is?
So I sent out a survey before all of this about potentially using River Road as a location, thinking that we probably weren't going to open Halls Pond. But now with Halls Pond potentially being able to open with the relief funding, the survey doesn't completely apply. But with the survey, I sent it out to 37 families. I got 14 responses. People, before discussing the new location, eight families were planning to send their children to summer camp after hearing that it would potentially be held at River Road outdoor only. Only 4 were planning to send their kids. So I think that's alarming. And asking if they would send them for, all 6 weeks or just 1 week here or there. It was strange because 5 people said that they would send them for all 6 weeks, but we only had 4 yeses. But I guess having the numbers and making sure that we're following the guidelines is important, but that relief funding would obviously help. So if we were to limit it to just 20 children total and follow the guidelines for the outdoor, it seems like it would be doable, but if we didn't have those 20 kids, I'm not sure. I need to talk more to Erica about it. If her funding would cover then the costs, let's say 1 week we only had 5 kids, would we then receive funding for 15 children? I'm not sure. So
I wonder, the closer you move towards camp and hopefully the more people are vaccinated and the less fear people have of COVID, you may get more positive responses. Maybe.
Right. And I mean, potentially with that funding, if Halls Pond is open, then we could transport the kids from River Road to Halls Pond in the afternoons. And that cost would be offset with the relief funding. So that might entice more parents to want to send their children if it's not just an outdoor field camp, but it's outdoor and swimming.
Sure.
So
You're going to move those kids in the back of Mike's pickup truck?
So there's guidelines for transportation too. They'd have to be spaced out on the bus. And I think most towns are limiting it to about 20 kids on the bus. So sticking with that group, you're not supposed to intermingle the 2 groups. If you had a cohort of 20 and another cohort of 20, they can't intermingle. So that would be difficult. If we had 25 kids sign up for camp, we might actually have to turn away families too, depending on how popular it was.
Did Erica tell you how much money is available? Like, is there any numbers?
So I think she said it was about 1.7 million, but I don't know how much of that would be going to our department. Obviously that's for the town, Board of Ed and everything. So
1.7 million, we could build our own building.
yeah, we would have our own facility. That would be nice.
That's the rooftops at Holland Center School right there.
With a pool.
Right.
That's a pool.
So I guess just getting more guidance from her on all of the funding and budget so we can try to plan a little bit better. I have interest in counselors wanting to return, so I don't see that being an issue. With Halls Pond, it's a little difficult finding lifeguards right now that are certified, because this last year, there weren't a lot of classes going on with COVID. So I have 2 lifeguards that would like to return this year, and I need about 7 more for
Wow.
us to be able to open Halls Pond. So I
Wow.
just shared that to Indeed, but it's on our website, it's on Facebook, it's gonna be in the Willington Wire. So
They don't have to get recertified every year, do they?
2 years.
Wow. If you know how to swim.
I vote Mike for selectman.
Geez.
I
So
know.
So you'll
hopefully
lose a
we get,
few.
hopefully we
So
get
you'll
some
lose it.
lifeguards so that we can
If you
open.
got 20 and you lose a couple,
That one blue kid got you fired.
jeez.
Yeah, I don't, you need that many lifeguards. But then again, I don't think a lot of people thought waterfronts are going to be open this summer, period.
Yeah.
And that's changing.
Yeah, most waterfronts weren't open last summer. I know Halls Pond wasn't.
No.
But this year with that funding, I think we could do it. We just need the staffing. And that funding hopefully would help us cover the cost of the storage unit that's still needed. I got new quotes on that, so the price for that has gone up, just like the price of everything, since COVID started. So I think the best price we got was Eagle Leasing. Theirs was 3,600 including delivery, and that's a 20-foot refurbished storage unit.
With a big eagle on the side of it.
Yeah, I think that's the company that Public Works used as well, so. I checked out the one that Troy had down there and it looks good, but theirs was a brand new one. This would be a refurbished one.
You can always paint it or do whatever you want to with it.
Yeah,
Hire somebody to paint
they
it.
paint it for us, so.
Who does, Eagle?
Yeah, the refurbished ones come already repainted,
Oh, beautiful.
so.
We're gonna have to be careful with that. You know, making sure no one gets trapped inside of it.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to have a solid rule book.
Just get insurance.
Ooh, that would be so horrible though.
I know. I'm only kidding.
I know
We're not
you,
gonna-
I know you are, but man, I would not want to have to find out that ever happened. That'd be horrible.
Well, who would be going in there with the, every day the lifeguards would go in there?
Right. And I
Yeah.
would think at the end of the day,
Yeah.
they make sure with a flashlight, no one's in there.
Yeah, you don't,
Faces, but you
you
never,
know, a kid playing hide and seek in there.
they would win in there. But we need it. I think that we need it. And Troy made a good point. He said if we end up with it down there, he would just chain the dock to it or put it on top of it.
yeah, it would be storage for the off-season items. The buoy lines and everything could go in there too.
Yeah. So that would be helpful.
Yeah, and all of the lifeguarding stuff right now is, well, the outdoor equipment is at Department of Public Works, but the board and floats and everything that the lifeguards use are upstairs here. So Maureen was lugging those back and forth every season. So having everything located there in the storage container would be very helpful.
Be
She was
be
br-
around Troy too, to move the dock. Sorry, Mike.
She was lugging it back and forth every day.
No, at the start of the season, at the end of the
Oh.
season, she'd have to close it up, so. And with that relief funding, I know that Erica and I discussed the potential of maybe making things more affordable for people. So we could potentially reduce the cost for people to send their children to camp or to buy a pond pass. And again, offset that with the funding that's in place. So the department would still be bringing in that revenue, but it would be more affordable and more desirable for families, especially during these tough times. So
If you got a big chunk of money, you could almost offer it gratis. You know, using the waterfront, right?
Well, why don't we just, do we have something that where we say that for, if anyone or any family has, is in need financially, to contact you directly? So everyone who can afford it pays, but those who can't, we'll get them a pass for free.
I don't think anything's in place right now.
Well,
think-
wait until it is.
Right. I think if people find out that the feds gave the state money and the state passed it along to us, everyone would expect a free waterfront.
So
Maybe.
Might be the only year we make money on the pond.
I know, right?
Well, do we know how much money we're getting?
no, I was hoping
Okay.
Erica would be here so she could give us a little more guidance on that.
All pie in the sky right now. It's Ed Tain's tax money hard at work.
When it
And the-
comes to qualifying people for being free, we can just get the free lunch list from the school.
That's a good point.
There you go.
Is that under HEPA? Can we get that list?
Well, we can at least send the name that's asking for it. Say, is it on, can you confirm that they're qualified for town assistance or whatever?
Yeah, that's true.
Like
Human Services-
it could also be people that are getting free food from the upstairs.
Human Services might know that too.
Right. That's my point.
I think Maureen had something in place to figure out who was gonna get free passes. So she must have something written down somewhere, how she did it.
Okay, I'll have to take a look. Yeah, I think just making it more affordable for families in general would be nice, because then we could just mention, reduced prices this year due to the American Relief Fund,
Hmm.
something of that nature. And with that, we don't know the guidance yet for waterfronts, so I don't know the spacing or, the maximum number of people allowed or anything like that. So selling passes, it's difficult to sell passes and not know that information because people might show up this summer and we might already be at capacity. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure what the guidelines are yet. And I know it's a beautiful location, but it isn't the largest waterfront. So I don't know how many families we could fit there just yet.
I think if we get the money to do it, it's free and it's first come, first serve.
Right.
Because the first person you turn away that paid for a season's pass is gonna flip out.
Right. I don't know that the funding would cover though, for it to be free. So I'll have to look into that.
If it doesn't, then you can only sell as many passes as we could handle on the beach, and that's 10 passes.
It depends on how many people in the family.
So a family can
mean-
take up a 10 by 10 space or a 15 by 15 space.
How many can you fit in the station wagon?
Yeah,
20?
but it gets more complicated than that. First of all, we're vaccinating like close to 3 million or more people a day. By the time June rolls around, July, a lot of people may already be fully vaccinated. And if you
Yeah.
show up with your family and everyone's vaccinated, what's the problem?
Right.
So I think it's too early. Let's just wait and see. We have
Yeah.
several months to go here.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I say, let's just table this for another month or two.
Okay. And what do I have next? As far as programs, projects in the park, I signed up with Angel Pond Creations, Mika. We signed up for another one on April 29th, May 27th, and June 24th. So we're going to be doing that down at River Road under the pavilion from 6 to 8. She's already got a few signups for the May and June dates.
What did you call that, Bethany? Angel?
Projects in the park, sorry. It's with Angel Pond Creations.
Okay.
And I was looking at Art Ventures doing like a virtual arts and crafts camp. And the cost for that would include the specialty craft items that families might need that they could pick up. But the timing for that didn't necessarily work out. The registration would have closed April 2nd, and we wouldn't have had enough time to fill the class for it to actually run. So I'm trying to see if there's like a single date that we can do in the future, or if a camp in the future would work better for them. Trying to see if there's any virtual options to start this springtime at least. And I also, we have virtual cooking class for kids coming up. That's with Food Explorers, and they're going to do a homemade pizza and a kitchen scavenger hunt. So that's going to be, again, virtual through Zoom, and that's during the spring break. So on Monday, April 19th from 11 to 12.
How do you do a scavenger hunt on Zoom?
It's a kitchen scavenger hunt. Food Explorers is organizing it. So they've already worked with Coventry in the past, and it's been well attended. So
Go find a peeler, go find a zester.
Basically.
probably. And then as far as sports, I think pickleball is kind of on hold because we don't have an indoor space for it. And Maureen used to host it during the day at River Road on the basketball courts. It wasn't always well attended, and it was a free program. So it's a little difficult right now with me being new, getting down there and offering a free program while I'm trying to organize summer camp and Halls Pond. But hopefully in the future, we'll have that indoor space at least and an instructor for it. I know the nighttime time frame worked better for people. It was more attended when it was in the gyms at night. So
What did she do with the net on the basketball court? Where was it?
we have it here in our storage closet. So she used to bring it back and forth.
Oh.
So an option again for that, at least for now, would be that people could potentially borrow it. It could be a loaner program where they would come take the net and bring it to the basketball court, but it's difficult because every afternoon and evening, the basketball court is full.
Yeah, there's kids
People are
out there
playing.
every day I go
Yeah.
by.
Yeah. So hopefully that pickleball court will happen soon and we can try to please everyone with basketball and pickleball.
What are we gonna try? What are we gonna do for nighttime once we get it lit up?
So
Rules or something.
the Lakes region, actually, we were discussing doing an outdoor summer basketball program. So I'm looking at all of that, trying to start to organize it. It might be something more like clinics or games or a 3-on-3 league. We haven't exactly defined it yet, so. What else? Volleyball is on hold because we don't have any indoor space. Golf lessons are starting. That's May through September at Skungamung. And I was looking at trying to do some sort of soccer spring or summer camp at River Road. Trying to see if that would be something that would be interested, if families would be interested in sending their kids for that. And trying to coordinate that with the field use and field maintenance. So
The soccer field's it's gonna be a little bit of a hassle, half and half. It's
Right.
great and we need it, but it's gonna be hard to manage.
right. And even if we did any of that maintenance in the summertime, that might affect summer camp if we held it at River Road. So doing that field maintenance might be better in the fall when we have the funding too. So
Oh yeah, when do you get the funding? July?
yeah, July 1.
Okay.
So the next edition of the Willington Wire will be sent out on April 1st, which is Thursday. And I think the only portion I'm not entirely sure about is the summer camp part. So I might just share, summer camp, more information to follow, or pay attention to our website or Facebook for more information on that. Because it's all still very fluid and we're figuring it all out, so. And that's it for me, I think. So,
Hopefully summer camp does happen and there's more positive news. And listen to the head of the CDC today, you would have thought that we were going to have a second coming of COVID. I don't think that's reality, but that's what TV's saying today. I'd love to see some of that money from Erica.
yeah. Yeah, I think understanding that more would help us, especially with picking a location. I think right now, River Road would probably be the best option. Partnering with summer school, I think is a great option and something that maybe we can do in the future, but this year it just seems very difficult intermingling two groups of kids and
Yeah,
having to hold space just for the afternoon care, limiting how many people from the public would want full day because we would have afternoon summer school kids in the program. So,
yeah, I agree.
and not having a location, not having an actual school location. I think having the school in the maybe next year would be easier to plan it.
Did you go inside that church that the firehouse took over?
No, they went this morning. I worked 12:30 to 7:30, so I couldn't go.
Closed up for so
I was
long.
still home.
It's gotta be nasty in there.
Yeah, he sent me 2 pictures. There's still, all the pews are still in there. But it is just one big indoor space, and I guess there are some smaller office spaces, but he didn't send pictures of those, so I'm not sure what those look like. And there's no AC in that building.
Oof.
So again, having that as a summer program might be brutal, especially during COVID.
Yeah,
So,
all right.
All right, very well.
Yeah, so I guess the most important thing is to see what the scheduling at the town office building field is.
Mhm.
And then talk to NEU and see what they're interested in doing there.
right.
Hopefully that works. That was a good idea. Whose idea was that? Mike's? You get a raise. You get a raise. All right, anything else?
I think that's it for me.
All right. You like your job, Bethany?
Yes,
You can keep it for a little while?
yes.
All right. I'm gonna write that down.
Make her sign it.
All right, so I don't think there's any old or new business, is there?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so if you guys have, I thank everybody for showing up. And if we think that's a wrap, we could adjourn if somebody wants to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Move, we adjourn.
Okay.
All set?
All set, guys. Bethany, I'm around this week, so if you need to give me a call, give me a call.
All right, thank you.
Take care, guys.
See you.
Thank
See you guys.
Bye.